The slow regard of silent things. I was under the impression for some reason that this was like a full book from Patrick Rothfuss. No, it's about 150 pages, and I burned through it in about the span of 24 hours. I kind of put it down 3 times, I'd say, and I just finished it this morning. And addressing the elephant in the room, if you're familiar with my channel here, I have a convoluted history of reviewing Patrick Rothfuss's material. Before I actually got good at doing reviews, I pretty much just tore apart Kingkiller Chronicles because I let my just own personal disliking of the story being told completely overwhelm any other aspect of the review, and I very much so regret that. Patrick Rothfuss is objectively a brilliant writer in terms of his prose and overall technique when he's crafting a story. I just don't really like the story he's crafting. So I've actually been really looking forward to reading something by Patrick Rothfuss that doesn't follow a protagonist that just grates me to an incredible degree, and that's Kvothe. So when I found out that the slow regard of silent things, while it does take place within a Kingkiller Chronicles, it doesn't follow Kvothe. I was really hoping this could be my first foray into a, cool, let's just see what Patrick Rothfuss can do for me as an author outside of this story I don't particularly like. It's still in that story, but it's not following the protagonist. I feel like often pollutes my enjoyment, my potential enjoyment for Rothfuss. And for those of you who don't know, A Slow Regard of Silent Things is essentially you following Ari in a day in the life. This is extremely unconventional when it comes to plot and story structure because there's not really a plot. This is you following a character. It reminds me of an author who's practicing developing a character, and sometimes they'll just write aimless things with them, monologues, just day in the life, non-consequential stuff. This very much so reads like that. This feels like Patrick trying to realize that character, but that doesn't really fully make sense because this was released well after he has realized it. Apparently it was originally supposed to be put into a series of short stories along with other authors like George R. R. Martin, but then became too big, so he decided to submit something else and just publish this as its own. And I like it. There's also wonderful illustrations inside by someone named Nate Taylor. Great job. I like your illustrations. But for me, this was finally a chance for me to sit back and just enjoy Rothfuss as an author and be able to see him in a lens that I feel like many other people do. He writes absurdly well. This guy can just slip in and out of this poetic writing while he's describing things and building the environment in a way I've honestly and objectively just never ever seen before. It's wholly impressive to see someone just slip these things into the writing that are just fruit. I don't know another way to describe it besides just candy for you, the reader. As you're reading, you can suddenly just realize like, oh, there's an actual poem essentially being woven into the text here that I get to now sit back and enjoy, and if you blink, you'll miss it. Now, while there isn't much of a conventional plot, there's definitely things discovered about the character Ari here, which I wasn't expecting, and they are some definite interesting nuggets, to say the least. So, yes, if you're a Rothfuss fan, duh, read this. You probably already have. You can pick it up and kill it in a couple hours tops. So why haven't you if you haven't already? But to non-Rothfuss fans, some people might say this is a good place to start reading Rothfuss, and I disagree and agree in a way. If you purely want to know, hey, am I going to vibe with this guy's writing style? Yes, because this feels like Rothfuss just kind of flexing as an author and being like, this is amazing, look what I can do, I'm that good at writing. He is, but in terms of, oh, well, what else is really out there for you to enjoy from Rothfuss? Kingkiller Chronicles. I don't know if this is the best representation of Kingkiller Chronicles because that wholly follows this one person in first person, while this story is not that. So for me, it's quite jarring and feels very different. Rothfuss is definitely writing from perspective extremely strongly within Kingkiller. And if you're someone who's kind of nervous to try Rothfuss after seeing my reviews and just thinking, well, this guy isn't for me because Daniel doesn't like him and our tastes tend to align, I wouldn't start with this. I would actually say no, just go pick up Name of the Wind and get through maybe the first few chapters and judge it that way, because I find this to be a great addendum once you've gotten through the first 2 Kingkiller books, but I don't think, especially when it comes to Rothfuss's world building and his ability with character, this is necessarily the way to judge him, because he's working with a character that's already been established a bit, and he's dropping lots of nuggets and spending time to build this character subtly in a way where you're definitely going to land and understand those subtle hints and their implications more if you're already familiar with the grander story, at least in my opinion. opinion. I would say this is the perfect book for Rothfuss fans to just enjoy one of their favorite authors if he is that flexing his abilities, because I find them to be on full display. It's maybe a good test for Rothfuss if you just want to see if his prose and writing style are as good as people say. They are. But if you are just more looking to see if Kingkiller will be for you, just start Kingkiller. And I did really like this book. This was good, and once again, as soon as Rothfuss is writing something outside of Kingkiller, I'm going to be first in line to buy it, because I don't enjoy Quoth, but I certainly enjoy his abilities as a story crafter. This has been my review of The Slow Regard of Silent Things. Like and subscribe if you have not already. Hit the Patreon if you want to support what I do here, and have a good one, y'all. Peace.